Hi everyone, Anchovy Fish Tuna here, the internet's fishiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Code Orange record, I Am King. These guys are a Pennsylvania hardcore and metalcore band. This is their sophomore full-length LP. They've got a heavy and raw sound. They dropped their first full-length album back in 2012. On this record, they were certainly showing quite a bit of promise, really had the whole hardcore world watching with the fact that this album dropped on DEATHWISH Records, and they had Kurt Ballou of Converge producing. I remember crushing riffs on this album, tight performances, good recording, some pretty raw vocals, but not really much else. To me, what kind of held this record back was somewhat lackluster writing, which in a genre that is typically very fast, loud, simple, and blunt is something that is sort of hard to define or savor. But since the inceptions of hardcore punk and metalcore, there have been groups that have run the gamut of creativity. Bands like Converge that are hectic and musically dense, the very righteous and wordy and straightforward Minor Threat, or groups that are a heavy, dark, brooding sonic assault like Nails. And with this new record of theirs, Code Orange kids essentially sit further on that more dissonant, noisy, dark, and heavy side of hardcore and metalcore right now. This record is thrash and bash. It does not really have much in the way of finesse, nor do I think it wants finesse. There are vocals on this record as well, not just guitars and drums, but I wouldn't really say the vocals come off as having that much to say or communicate. The lyrics are pretty unintelligible. But vocally, there's quite a bit of variation here. There are some general hardcore screams, just those throat-ripping shouts. There are some guttural growls, metalcore grunts, the occasional clean vocal, and for whatever reason, sometimes muttering. Yes, some of the tracks on here do feature muttering. I'm not sure why, but they do. The vocals on this LP really are more for sound and emotion and effect than they are a message, pretty much. Code Orange kids are rather Code Orange now because they have removed the kids, sorry. They really let their riffs and their production do much of the talking for them. Together, Code Orange and Kurt Ballou have pulled together an insanely heavy, pummeling album. The riffs, just how thick and how punchy they are, along with the drums, is just suffocating. This record is abusive. It's overbearing. I really think Kurt Ballou just inches forward into producing his loudest, heaviest album yet here. So in that regard, this record is kind of an advancement. It's sort of refreshing, but once again, Code Orange's writing is just really nothing to get that excited about, or really even remember. On track for track for track, the band just passes from one indiscernibly sluggish breakdown riff fest to another, occasionally devolving into something that sounds like it could have come off of a new metal record in the year 2000, like on the song Bind You, the intro there. Or Code Orange's slow, sluggish riff onslaughts show such little variance that the song just gets stale before it's over, like Alone in a Room. Even though the closing track here, Mercy, it is the longest track here, it is 4 minutes, but the band does a pretty decent job of keeping it engaging for that duration, even though the various parts the band kind of just throws against the wall do feel a little disjointed and don't feature like some really good or creative or fluid segues that bring the song from one part to another. The only thing that gives these tracks some significant sonic separation are these tiny trinkets they manage to weave into the heavy riffs. Like the opener on here, which has these just start, stop, guitar drones that feel like they could have come out of a horror movie trailer. Or Slow Burn, which behind the riffs on this track, there's this very tinny, sharp, and very ear-grabbing clinging, clanking, pinging. It's very metallic. It's very Or the song Your Body Is Ready, which has these very thin, dissonant guitar arpeggios that kind of bounce back and forth between the riffs. The very dissonant, shrill guitar chords on My World. Or the song My World, which features the kind of faint, distant, overly reverb background vocals that I would hear more often in like someone's bedroom shoegaze project versus a hardcore or metalcore album, which at the end of the day isn't really that much of a compliment to this album's bone-snapping riffs. So yeah, each track does have a little trick up its sleeve, but it's only a small distraction from what is essentially one non-specific riffy slugfest after another. I'm pretty on the fence with most of these tracks. There are some songs on here I do like, such as I Am King and Your Body Is Ready, as well as Unclean Spirit, but to me these songs are just nice, coherent metalcore tracks where the riffs and the momentum seem pretty constant throughout the song. The various parts of these tracks either flow into one another or complement one another nicely. Plus, to me, these songs don't go so overboard with the breakdowns as other songs do. Code Orange, despite the name change, have just put out another record that I feel a little on the fence with, but maybe I just like slightly at the end of the day. Even though I think their sound and their performances are very aggressive, very intense, very massive, I think Code Orange continues to be more hardcore soldiers than they are hardcore superiors. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this LP transition, but if you've given this album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Code Orange, forever.